Welcome everyone. Before we start the course, I'd like you all take a moment and answer this question. What are some practical steps you can take to create a more inclusive work environment for LGBTQ employees? Your options are A. Provide gender neutral restrooms, B. Offer sensitivity training for all employees, C. Create a diversity and inclusion task force, and D. All of the above. Please choose the best answer based on your experience and knowledge. We'll discuss the correct answer during the course and explore some practical strategies for creating a more inclusive workplace for all gender employees in Nepal Telecom. Welcome everyone to this training session on creating an inclusive workplace for gender diversity in Nepal Telecom. The goal of this training is to equip you with the knowledge and skills to promote gender diversity and inclusivity for our workplace, creating an environment where all employees feel valued and supported. We will cover the importance of inclusive policies and practices on gender diversity and inclusivity, and provide practical strategy for making our workplace more inclusive for all gender employees. Let's talk about why gender equality is important. Gender equality means equal rights, opportunities, and treatment for all individuals, regardless of gender. It is crucial for our nation to promote gender equality as it leads to better financial performance, creativity, innovation, and employee satisfaction. When we value the gender equality, it will motivate our employees. This will create a more positive and equitable work environment for everyone, attracting and retaining top talent from diverse candidates. Let's work together to make our workplace a more inclusive, equitable place for all employees. Privilege is an unearned advantages or benefits someone receiving based on their identity. In the workplace, privilege can lead to discrimination and exclusion. It's essential to recognize how privilege operates in the workplace and how it affects our colleagues. For example, assumption about gender identity or sexual orientation based on appearance or overlooking contribution of LGBTQ plus employees. However, we can challenge privilege and work towards equality by advocating for LGBTQ plus rights and creating more inclusive workplace. So we have to ensure that all employees feel valued and respected. In today's workplace, it is important to recognize the different identities intersect to create unique experience of oppression and privilege. Intersectionality is the idea that different identities such as race, gender, and sexual orientation intersect to create unique experience of oppression and discrimination. For example, a person who identifies as a LGBTQ plus may also face discrimination based on their race, ethnicity, or gender. So by recognizing and addressing the ways in which discrimination and privilege intersect, we can create a safe and welcoming environment for everyone. At Nepal Telecom, we need to create an inclusive workplace where everyone feels valued and respected. So how can we minimize this? We need to address inclusive policies, practices, implement policies and practices that promote inclusivity and diversity, such as inclusive languages, access facilities, and diverse hiring practices. By implementing these strategies, organizations can help minimize intersectionality discrimination and create a more inclusive workplace for everyone. Power dynamics in the workplace can make or break an employee's career and contribute to discrimination against marginalized groups. Specifically, we will be looking at how power dynamics affect LGBTQ plus employees at Nepal Telecom and the policies and practices that contribute to discriminations. Power dynamics refer to the unequal distribution of power among individuals or groups in the workplace. This can take many forms, such as hierarchical structure, gender and racial biases, and discrimination against marginalized groups. Power dynamics can have a significant impact on LGBTQ employees in the workplace. These employees may face discrimination, harassment, and exclusion due to their gender identity or sexual orientation. They may be denied promotions and opportunities for advancement, or they may be forced to conceal their true selves in order to fit within the dominant culture. Unfortunately, many policies and practices in the workplace can contribute discrimination against LGBTQ employees. For example, health insurance policies are excluding coverage for LGBTQ employees and their families. So inclusive policies can help to mitigate the impact of power dynamics in the workplace and promote a culture of respect and acceptance. Have you ever felt mistreated or discriminated in the workplace? Oppression refers to the systematic mistreatment and discrimination of marginalized groups, such as LGBTQ individuals. In this slide, I will explain how organizational culture can significantly affect oppression of gender and LGBTQ employees at Nepal Telecom, and why it is important to challenge and address systematic oppression in the workplace. I'll give you one example of systematic oppression at Nepal Telecom. For example, systematic oppression include discriminatory hiring practices and unequal leave policies for LGBTQ employees. These practices promoting a culture of exclusion and marginalization for gender and LGBTQ employees. The impact of oppression can be devastating for employees, leading to feeling of isolation, stress, and lower job satisfaction. Additionally, it can negatively affect organizational culture, leading to a lack of diversity, innovation, and creativity. It is important for organizations to challenge and address systematic oppression in the workplace. This can be achieved by implementing inclusive policies and practices, promoting diversity and inclusion, and holding leaders and employees accountable for their actions. Inclusion is critical for creating a workplace that values diversity and promotes equality. It can help ensure that all employees feel valued, supported, and empowered to contribute to their fullest potential. Imagine feeling excluded or discriminated against at work simply because of your gender identity or sexual orientation. Unfortunately, this is a reality for many LGBTQ employees in the workplace. Creating an inclusive workplace for all gender employees is not only essential for promoting diversity and equity, but also for creating a safe and welcoming environment where all employees can flourish. Creating an inclusive workplace for all gender employees is a critical step toward fostering diversity, equity, and inclusion. To achieve this goal, it is important to identify policy gaps and cultural barriers that may hinder progress towards creating a more inclusive workplace. In Nepal Telecom, some policy gaps, including discriminating leave policy and lack of inclusive language in HR policies, are some examples. So fortunately, there are tools and resources available to help organizations develop and implement effective policies and practices that promote inclusivity. The Global Toolkit for Changes by Out and Equal is an excellent resource for creating a more inclusive workplace that promotes diversity and equity. Finally, it is essential to measure the impact of diversity, equity, and inclusion practices and policies on employees to ensure that they are effective in creating a more inclusive workplace for all gender employees. Creating an inclusive workplace for LGBTQ employees is not only the right things to do, but also benefit the organization as a whole. By promoting diversity and inclusivity, we can attract and retain top talent and improve overall employee satisfaction and productivity. Let's explore practical steps we can take to support LGBTQ employees and create a workplace where everyone feels valued and respected. First and foremost, it is important to provide resource and support for LGBTQ employees. This can include access of counseling services, or employees resource groups that provide a safe and supportive space for LGBTQ employees to connect and share their experiences. Regular assessment and evaluation of the workplace culture and policies are also necessary to ensure they remain inclusive and effective in reducing gaps. This can involve conducting anonymous surveys to gather feedback from employees, reviewing policies and practices regularly, and take action to address any identified gap. Finally, it is important to encourage and support LGBTQ representation in leadership and decision-making roles within the organization. This can involve providing leadership training and development programs specifically tailored to LGBTQ employees. By taking these steps, we can create an inclusive workplace where everyone feels valued, respected, regardless of their gender identity and sexual orientation. So in today's world, creating an inclusive workplace for LGBTQ individuals is more important than ever. Fortunately, there are many resources available to support organizations and individuals in this endeavor. It is important to note that Nepal has made significant strides in recognizing the rights of LGBTQ individuals. The landmark ruling in the Sunil Babu Panta and others versus Nepal government case recognizes the right of LGBTQ individuals in Nepal. And furthermore, Mitini Nepal is an organization that can provide additional resources tailored to the culture and the social context of Nepal. I hope from this training video, you get some best practical strategy to make more inclusive workplace for all gender employees. Thank you.